Hello everyone, and welcome to the webinar. As you come in the room, why don't you pick up the chat and just say hi to everybody. Let me know that you're here. Maybe let me know where you're from. It's always fun to see everybody join from all across the country. Um, and Hey, hello. We have some people in. Wow, we have a big group today. This is great. This is awesome. This is going to be a good webinar. California, Illinois, Washington, Arizona, New York. Okay, we've covered all from coast to coast. This is awesome. Hi, Chris. How's it going? Um, Hi, Torey. Another Torey on the call. This is great. I am going to just kind of fill the air here, welcoming everybody for a few moments until I see kind of the number of people joining level off, but we are getting a pretty big group in here, so lots of good interest in Journeys. This is great. So actually, also, as you're joining, feel free to chat amongst yourselves, ask questions, share experiences, anything. This is, we've, have a really great group of people joining, a lot of engaged people that want to learn more about this tool, but also maybe new and different things about ClientCircle. And we have everybody on this call, from customers to potential customers to partners, and it's a really good way to just ask questions of the team. So please chat, share amongst yourselves, and we'll make this session as interactive as we can. I'm going to try and keep an eye on the chat as well as we go through this to answer questions. There is a Q&A section. If you want to use that, helps me see questions a little bit easier, because I'm going to kind of be moving around from slides to screens and things like that, so I might miss some things. But if you could put them in the Q&A section, use the chat to ask questions and that kind of thing of the group. So, all right, looks like I haven't seen anybody join in the last 15, 30 seconds. So I'm going to get going here. And today we titled this webinar, it's all about journeys. We titled it More Than a CRM. The reason we did that is because you have big components of your system, technology wise. You have your management system, your CRM, your communication platform like ClientCircle. And what I'm going to show you today is how we can get more out of all of those tools and how they all kind of work together to really help you manage the journey that a client goes through from a communication perspective. And I'm going to talk about a lot of different journeys and things today. But I want to start off by just, for the people that are new to ClientCircle and learning what we're all about, the core foundation of everything we do is based in these few bullet points here. Number one, retention strategy and tools. We have a lot of really great tools that help you retain more business, which is super important, especially now, and I think is going to become even more important over the next 18 months. You spend a lot of time, energy, effort, and money to get customers, and we want to help you retain those. And we have a lot of automated tools I'm not going to cover today that help you retain those people. Of course, part of that retention is managing your online reputation is another big piece of what we do. Reviews and testimonials, we help you get more reviews from people, more testimonials from existing customers. Just real quick, one tidbit that I like to say about testimonials is that we often think about testimonials as a way to get someone to say something nice that you can share. But did you know that people who give a testimonial, just by giving it, whether you share it or not, they're several times more likely to stay with you as a client than if they don't give you a testimonial, because that testimonial is a huge retention tool. So if you're not collecting testimonials from your customers, then you definitely should be. All of those things also help with local search results and SEO, especially now that we have websites on our platform. We really help with that. And of course, if you are familiar with our company from a long time ago, we used to be called Rocket Referrals, and referrals is a huge part of what we do and we continue to do. We want to get people to talk about you and share your name with their friends and family, so business comes to you. And of course, ready to go automations, handwritten cards is another huge thing that we do. And then being able to show you some analytics and data. So, in a nutshell, these core things are what really, got Rocket Referrals off the ground. And then eventually we became ClientCircle because we've added so much to our platform. And I like to remind people we were not acquired or anything like that, but Rocket Referrals has just changed so much over the years that we thought it was time for a new name to better reflect the full circle of everything that we provide. So, what are some of those new things? Well, websites. You have the ability to add a website onto our platform, which I did a webinar on. Maybe it's been about a month ago that where we introduced that. And websites is a great way to integrate our platform with websites. And I'm going to show that a little bit today, to where we can take form content, for example, people submitting forms, and flow that into a journey and automate communication and set tasks and things to clients as well. And that also comes with enterprise grade content management system that has AI baked into it, so that you can use AI to create unique and good content for your website. And then of course, conversations such as email, text messaging, and web chat platform. And then of course, I talked a little bit about Circle AI, which Circle AI with that I'm going to show about a little bit today. So we'll have some fun playing around with that. So I am gonna keep going. So what we're going to talk about today. So why journeys are important, and why and how they kind of go beyond or take your CRM, kind of to the next level, and how it work with whatever CRM it is that you have. And also, I'm going to show you what a journey is and how it works. I'm going to actually walk through building one. I'm going to go through it relatively quick because I'm not here today to talk about how to write the best emails and things like that, but I am going to show you how to build a journey and the main core components of that. And then talk about how we really combine all of this stuff into one platform. So, all right. Why do we need journeys in the first place? Well, your management system and other things out there, they probably have some level of communication capabilities, in there. And I think what clients are sort of expecting nowadays, and what you need to do from an automated communication level, the management systems were not made to do that, right? They're made to manage your policies and accounts and commissions and do the downloads and things like that. And that's always going to be a really important thing, for what you do. It's also there for record retention purposes and, things like that. But when it comes to client communication, this is something that we have been perfecting over 10 years to think, how do we create a platform that we can automate communications and help you stay in touch with people, and then monitor the relationship with you and adjust to give you the best possible outcome when it comes to communicating with clients. And that's what we've really focused on, and why a tool that's made for communication is important to add on to your stack, your technology stack. The neat part about Journeys is that we use the data from your management system to do these automations. So Journeys is what you'll see is sort of a smart reactive system. It's looking at data in your management system and changing the path that someone goes through a journey based upon their data. So we can tell it that certain pieces of communication are only important for commercial lines, and maybe certain communications only important if they have monoline, or maybe not, package policies and things like that. Also, our automations can just automatically end when they're no longer applicable. So if a communication is made for customers and someone is no longer a customer, then those communications will stop. But even better, the communication can be made for a prospect, and then as soon as someone becomes a customer, the prospect communications stop. And that's a really important thing because we've probably all been in that boat before where maybe I'm browsing for something online. Who knows? It could be furniture, some product, or something, and then you buy that product, but you're still presented with all of those ads. It's almost like it never goes away, and we don't want that to happen to you, right? So if you're have a prospect campaign and then you actually become a customer, you want those to automatically stop. And we don't want you to have to manually trigger something to stop those communications. And so we can do that by looking at the data in your management system and connecting up your customer records with the information that we have in Journeys and automatically stop those things. And I'll show you how all of that works here in a little bit. Also, we've built some journeys for you that help you sell more policies. We want you to retain more people and essentially build better relationships. And we'll do that, by automatically building out some cross-sell automations for you and some customer relationship type of automations that I'm going to show today. And at the end of the day, it's all about helping you save time and be consistent with your workflows. Journeys is a system that helps you lay out automated workflows and communication so that you can be consistent in that process. I'm sure we have a lot of agency owners on the call, but also CSRs and other people that are in the operational aspect of things, and you have policies and procedures in place to be able to follow things, and Journeys can help make sure that every customer sort of gets a consistent experience throughout and you're not going to miss something. And we'll kind of show you how that helps, how we can do that too through this process. So one of the neat things about it, again, being back to being driven by data driven, is that you don't necessarily need to move contacts from column to column and select what people need to get. The system automatically sort of reacts to the data and can send communication for you and move people sort of to the next stage without needing to manually move people, unless you want to, right? And there's a thing called manual steps that I'm going to show you where you can actually say, I want to wait to move this person to that stage until a certain thing happens. And then our journeys can obviously customize emails, texts, even handwritten cards and notifications to employees. One of the things that we've added with this is the ability to notify your staff and team under certain circumstances. So when we see certain data things happen, you can be alerted of that and take action on something if it's not something that you want to automate or that you want to sort of have a more manual look at something. And then being able to connect into forums and conversations and things like that, which I'm going to show. But the most important thing here is at the end is setting goals and then being able to monitor your progress. So every journey, every stage can have what's called a goal. And that goal is typically some data attribute that says when a customer looks like this, if my journey is to cross-sell to be home and auto, then my goal can be a criteria that says the customer has home and auto. And as soon as that is met, the goal of the journey is met, and then you can view metrics to see where along the journey was I most successful in meeting that goal, or where am I losing people as well. So, all right. What is a journey? I talked a little bit about this, but essentially it's a way to customize any type of path of communication, right? So we can do prospecting, onboarding, cross-selling, renewals, claims, you name it. And that's because you can really customize it any way that you want it to be. But we have sort of some safe bets to start with. So we have frameworks of things that you can build on or just use as is. And this is a really neat thing that we've added, because in the past, with ClientCircle, it was you kind of get what you get, right? You flip on the welcome cards and welcome emails and things, and that's just what it is. But now with Journeys, you can really customize that experience any way that you want it to be. In fact, let's show you how that happens. So I'm going to walk through a few different journeys today to set them up. I'm going to actually build one from scratch because I want you to kind of experience what it's like to build one from scratch, and then you can appreciate some of our templates that we have out there. I'm going to show you how it interacts with a website to get form data in, and then I'm going to end by building a customer monitor so we can kind of keep track of detractors and things like that, which is, I think, really important from a retention standpoint. So we're going to start out on this page here. And when you enable Journeys, this is the Journeys landing page. I already have some Journeys in here that I have built to kind of walk through. And I'm going to show some of these in a little bit. But I want to start out by building one from scratch. And the journey that I want to build is essentially one that is for all of the, not all of the communication, but most of the communication for a client that you've had, for the first year. And actually, this is a journey that I got the idea to build literally 45 minutes ago because I was on the call with a client, and they said, what I really want to do is I know that I want to have an awesome sort of onboarding experience, but also that onboarding to me lasts for an entire year. And then after a year, I have certain things I want to do in the second year and third year and, so on and so forth. And I thought, man, that's really, really cool because they're thinking about what is that customer journey like? When do they want to start doing cross sells? And when do they want to ask for reviews? And, things like that. And they want to really customize that and lay out that journey, but then also be able to see where people are along that journey so that they can quickly come out here and see, okay, I've got this person, they're 6 months in, this is what they're going to get. And this is what I need to do with them. And they have one sort of view for that. So when I create a new journey, the first thing I see is this start from scratch, button, and then some of the journeys that we've already built. And I'm going to show you how these templates work in a bit. But for now, I am going to do new journey. So I know this is for first year. So I'm just going to say, first year as a customer. Now, the name here is just something that I'm giving it to recognize it. I don't need to put a description, but sometimes it's helpful to add. I'm not going to now because, and save us a little bit of typing time here. So now we kind of get the first choice that we have. When do we want to start the journey? Well, I already have a couple of lists built. One of them happens to be new clients. And so I want to start this journey anytime I have a new client. I don't necessarily need to repeat this journey, although that is something that we can do. If you have some journeys like renewal campaigns and things that you're going to be doing upon every renewal, maybe you want those to repeat. This one is going to be just for my first year as a client, so I'm not going to. Now, a journey requirement, this is where we can actually eject people from the journey when something is no longer true. So you have to be a client to be in this journey because it's a journey for the first year of clients. Now, this is one of those data attributes that I was talking about because whenever this becomes untrue, then the journey will end. So you don't have to worry about sending anybody client communication that was intended for clients by setting this requirement here. And now a goal. I want to track how many people stay a client for a year. And so the goal is that this person moves from a new client to be a client for more than a year. And so what I'm going to see at the end of this journey, at the end of a year, I'll be able to see how many people start as a client and how many people do I end? So this is a really great way to be able to see from the clients that I get, how many do I keep for at least a year? And we will be able to show you along the way when they, decide not to be a client as well. So when this requirement here is no longer met through the journey. And so that's all I need to do to create my journey. And we start out with just 3 stages. And now a journey is broken down into stages. You can have as many stages as you want or as few as one. And the stage essentially is, where you have seen before with your Kanban boards or your Trello boards or whatever it is that you're using where you move cards from left to right. And that's what stages are. So we always start in the leftmost stage and then move through as, from the right. So the first stage that I want to build for my new customers, I'm just going to call it onboarding. And again, I won't put a description. I'm going to put green for this one. And I don't need to add an additional stage requirement or goal for this one. However, you could. This is a sort of another goal that you can add for this stage specifically, because in this stage, we're going to send a certain number of communications, and maybe they are intended to actually achieve something. And when that thing is met, you can have it move automatically to the next stage. In my case, I'm just going to call the stage onboarding, and I change the color. And that's all I need. I don't need a requirement or a goal for that stage. And also, what I want to do is add a step. So this is where we start to really enhance things compared to your Trello boards and things like that, because steps are the actions that you actually want to take inside of this stage when someone is in it. So the first thing that I want to do here is just send a welcome email. So I'm going to pick an email, and let's see, I'm just going to label this step welcome. And really neat thing that we have here in Journeys is I can decide who I want to send this welcome email to. So I could say if the contact is on list, let's see, what do I have? Let's do home no auto. I could send an email that says something differently, then we'll add another option. Everyone who is on the list, let's see, what do I got? Auto no home, right? I could send 2 different emails. So this is a really cool thing, because now inside of Journeys, I don't have to set up 2 different automations for people depending on different list criteria, which is really, really neat. You could even, though, say maybe if the contact is not on the list, I want to send a different email, right? So we can do that kind of thing. I'm going to get rid of the second one here, so I only need to write 1 email in my demo, and I'm just going to say welcome. And here's one of the really, really neat things here. I can just say hello for now, and I want to use AI to write this email. So we can use Circle AI button down here, and we can use it to improve existing content if I've already written an email, or we can also use it to just write a full email for us. So I'm going to just say, write a short email to welcome a customer to our company. And our AI tool is going to go out there and start thinking. We have some really neat prompts that make this easy for you to use. And eventually, we're going to get back a new email. I'm going to go ahead and accept this and just kind of put it in here. So as our newest customer, and I might replace, my agency name here, which I called this agency Journey Insurance We're thrilled to have you on board. Look for your news. Committed to providing excellent service quality. If you have any questions, simply reach out to us. Let's see. Oops. Thank you for choosing us. I'll just say us. And we hope to build a long-lasting relationship. Regards. And actually, instead of your name, I'm going to add signature. And I think up here, I'm going to add the contact first name. And all of these little codes, you'll have access to sort of a cheat sheet of what they are. I can view a preview of this email. And there we are. I didn't even really have to write that because our AI did it for us. But maybe I want to change that a little bit. We can actually go in here and just hit some of these buttons. And they have some prompts that are ready for you. So you don't need to worry about giving it a custom command. But if I wanted to make that a little more friendly, I can just hit the friendly button. And it's going to take my adjustments that I've already made. And, you know, as you can see, it kind of keeps all of the tokens and things like that. So you don't need to worry about redoing any of that. It even kept the agency name and things like that. So actually, I like this one a little bit more. So I'm just going to accept that. And now we have a really nice welcome email that's ready to go. And I'm just going to hit save. So the first thing in our onboarding, we're going to send a welcome card. And the other thing is, Journeys Insurance maybe just added a mobile app and they want to let people know about that. So I'm going to send a text message to this person that says, install our app. The reason I want to send a text message is because if I am on here, then, or sorry, if I send a text message and they're on their phone, it's really easy for them to install a link. So, you know, let's say, install our app. Again, I'm going to just use AI to say short text message letting them know they can install the app at link. And we'll let AI write that for me real quick. Well, let's see, and simplify your life. Get now at, okay, that's not really that great. But let's see. Did you know? It did a much better job before this, let me tell you. You know, you can be coded by. Simple enough. And what we would do is just replace that with the link, you know, that you install, and we are good. So we have a welcome email, we have a text message. You could go on and on, right, with the things that you want to do on onboarding. You could even say, hey, I want to wait now, maybe wait, I don't know, 3 days. Oops. And we'll just save this. And so now we're going to wait 3 days. And again, you can see I can add as many type of communications that we want here. Maybe even I decide, you know what, I kind of want people to install the app before the welcome card. I can just click and drag that up and change the order. And now people are going to get that text message before the welcome email. Or maybe I want to wait 3 days in between that. So you can move things around like that, which is really nice, easy to do. And that automatically saves for us. So now what else am I gonna do in here? I'm just gonna go ahead and build out a couple of more stages, and then I'll build some steps. One of the things that I want to do is make sure people have auto pay set up on their account, you know, so that they're not going to miss any payments. I'm going to change that to purple. And then the next stage I want to do is I just want to do a quick check-in. Maybe this is going to come a few months after they've been a client. We'll build out some steps for this. Here's how I can add a new stage. Just do review request. I want to have everybody request a review, but maybe I only want to ask for a review from people that are promoters. So I'm going to just put a promoter requirement on here. and we will just hit go. Now, the cool thing about that, actually, I'm going to change the color. I don't like that color. How about green? And the requirement means that if that's not true, it's going to automatically skip this step. So I'm only going to ask a review of people that are promoters. Okay, so we've got review request, and let's do one more because cross-sell. We'll turn this one purple. Now I want to do a cross-sell campaign, but maybe I only want to do that again if they are a monoline client. Let's see, I could do home no auto. Yeah. See, I thought maybe I had one that has, there we go, monoline cross-sell interest. So now that's only going to happen on there. And again, I can add more stages that I want to, move out into the future, or whatever you want it to be. Kind of reminding me of that customer that gave me the idea to build this. You might say, maybe it's more than a year. Maybe it's 2 years, or maybe you want to add multiple things. So I'm going to go back in and add a couple of steps. I could add an email in here for auto pay. Try auto pay. And this is very just basic. On this one, I'm just going to write, sample here, and then sample. But of course, again, this isn't necessarily all about writing emails. So I'm going to just put that in there for now. Which, by the way, I did hear right before this call, we are going to have a webinar on writing effective emails and things. So, and how to use Circle AI better. So I'd highly recommend keeping an eye out for that. In my check-in, so here's one of our most powerful, steps is actually called manual step. And in my check-in, I actually want to have someone, look at this account. So I'm going to say, look at account. And it's a manual step, so I don't really need to add anything extra to this. And I'm going to hit continue. But before this step, I want to send a notification to an employee. And I'm going to notify the primary assigned employee, the person assigned to this account, and then I can set a fallback if they don't have anyone assigned, and it's going to go to them. And so someone's going to be notified that they're in this step, and then the person will go down into this manual step to look at the account. And then from here, I can send out an email. I can have them choose, okay, are there extra follow-ups that I want to do? I'm not going to build those out, but you can kind of get the idea that in my check-in process, I can send lots of different communications. I may even send a webhook. If you're using Zapier and you want to send a Slack a message or a Teams message or something like that, you can use webhooks to do that, which is a really neat thing. Review requests. I can do an email and a text message here. I think a text message to review us is really nice. And again, I'm not going to write too much of the text message, but this is where I would write review us here. And we have some really nice review links that are in our settings page that you can get to put in here that just say, hey, review us, and click here. It's what we call the universal review link that allows people to click on that and review you right away. So that's a really nice thing that we can do. Now, I have went through all this, and I know that it would need a lot of adjustment, but I wanted to show you what it's like to build a journey out for yourself so that you can kind of get an idea of all the flexibility that we have here. But it's a lot, right? And here I am at the cross-sell stage, and I know that along the journey, I want to start a cross-sell campaign, but I don't necessarily want to build all of that into here. So I'm going to actually go back to our journey landing page here, and I'm going to build a new journey. And I have one already built for you called Monoline Cross-Sell Journey. And if you look at this, we have 15 steps in this one, 8 steps in this one, 9 steps in here as a follow-up. And all I need to do is click that checkbox to build the journey. And you can see it's created 3 stages for you, all of these communications for you. If I can go and look at these emails, and they're all pretty much ready to go. There's some that has some extra requirements for you to go in and just edit them, let you know if you need to update some things in there that to make it specific for you. But for the most part, you have a lot of the cadence already built out for you, so you don't need to worry about what do I say and when. You just have to customize this and make it look great on you. Okay, so now that I have this monoline cross-sell journey already built, let me show you one of the coolest things of Journeys. Now, I'm going to go back to my first year as a customer journey, and I want to edit this. And here we are back on the cross-sell. I can actually add a step that says Start New Journey. So in here, I'm going to do Start Cross-sell. And I want to do the monoline cross-sell journey. And I'm going to actually just continue. So what I'm doing here is I have a step in my first year as a customer journey to start another journey for cross-sell. So this is a really good way that you can sort of build out targeted sort of campaigns without cluttering up your all of your this journey. For example, if I had also just injected the cross-sell journey into here, that would make this one more complicated. But also that means that our cross-sell journey can be started, we can start it from multiple locations or multiple journeys. So you might start that cross-sell journey not just within the first year as a customer, but you might start it for customers that have been with you 5 years that only have one policy, and then you can use the same sort of cross-sell journey to start. And so here we are kind of looking at our first year as a customer, and as we add customers to that new customer list, you would see them pop up underneath these sections here, and you would see where they are on that. So let's go to Journeys again. So I'm going to pause and take a quick look at some of the questions before I move on to forms and websites and how they integrate together. So looks like we're getting some question. Okay. It looks like we had one about webhooks that was answered. Good question from Bill on will clients receive review requests and journeys not be solicited for one as normal? And yes. So Bill, the neat thing about that is these systems should work well together. And one of the neat things that we do with review requests, for example, is we won't ask for a review if they've already given one. So let's say you have a review request that someone has that you're sending in a journey, they actually give you a review. Our normal review process is not going to re-ask for that. So it's a really neat thing where all of this stuff sort of communicates together. Let's see, can we add dates? I think that one was answered. And yes, we're adding more. It looks like we're doing a good job. I have some team members in here answering questions. So looks like we are getting those answered. So I'm going to go ahead and move on, because what I want to show you is another journey that I built out for websites. And if you're familiar with our website product that we just released, one of the components for that is service forms. So we have this is our website, or one of a template version of one of our websites, and on here are service forms where you can file a claim, you can make a policy change, request ID card, request certificate. And before I fill this out, but this is kind of what the form looks like. I want to show you our website service form. I have a couple of people in here in different stages, but so this service form is set up to where new entries, come in to our first stage here, and then certificate requests will go in here. we would notify your employee that you have a certificate request, and then a manual task for somebody to actually send that certificate. So I think that someone asked earlier about webhooks. And this is a really cool way that integrations could potentially be built in the future. Now, I am just getting people to open their minds and think about this, but the reason we have webhooks is so that our system can communicate with other systems and say, hey, let's say we have a certificate request. I can send a webhook out, and then that could be received by the system that can actually process that certificate and send it out. And so this is a way for you to connect your forms with webhooks and other things all together and connect everything at once. So I'm going to just go out here and fill out a new form. Let's say Journey webinar. Street is 123 High Street, Des Moines, Iowa 50309. And when do I need it? I need it by 5/19/2023. Some information. Now, today's discussion isn't all about forms, but on our website product, you can customize your forms and edit them and things like that. But I just wanted to show you how we can get this form entry in. One of the things that we ask for on the form, obviously, is that we can receive texts and emails and things to actually communicate with them about this. So we're getting that opt-in for you automatically, which is really nice. Then when we submit it, we can go back to our Journey, and we see we have Journey webinar in here already for a request that we received. And then, of course, as an employee, I could kind of look at this, review it, and then it would automatically move over into certificate requests. So really neat how, number one, how quickly that happens, right? Because when we're building integrations with other tools like Zapier and things like that, it's a lot of moving parts to get one system to connect to the other and things like that. But when it's integrated together, you can see how a request from your website can automatically flow into Journeys and really start that communication. And then, of course, from here, I can automate as many different pieces of communication as we want. So first of all, the first thing that I have in here that I built, actually I built this right before the webinar, so it's not in too much detail, but the first thing we do is we send out an email that says, hey, we've received your form submission, like to thank you for taking the time to complete it and that kind of thing. But remember how we can customize that. If I wanted to, I can customize it. So if they responded to my service form, then I'm going to, write this email differently. So I can put more information in this form that's based on the type of request that they actually submitted. So that's one way that can help you sort of manage your tasks through things. Now, if you have a system like Hawksoft, for example, we can automatically create tasks in Hawksoft, and you'll see those things in there as well. And then with Sidecar, you'll see this new client even pop up in Sidecar to be able to download into Hawksoft. So how we work with different management systems is really different, but really neat things are going to come in the future with all of the management systems as they learn about Journeys and what we can do here. So we always want to hear about how we can integrate better with your management systems. Let's see, I have one question here. It's from Ben. How does it know when the customers came on board? How does this not interfere with AZ? I assume you're talking about agency Zoom. What are the differences? How does texting work? Add a lot of questions, Ben. I think some of these we could definitely answer when we get on the phone with you and show you some details. But Journeys and ClientCircle were really made to work with systems together. first of all, our NPS system is amazing. And we use that NPS system or Net Promoter System to get a lot of information about customers that we can use to target communication. So, for example, we know if they're a promoter or a detractor. And on one of the things I'm going to show you here at the end is a customer monitor that I'm going to build. And we can use that to change the communication that we send out. And think about ClientCircle and Journeys in ClientCircle as the method at which you're going to communicate out to people and build that cadence of communication and monitor where people are along their journey. It's not intended to, close the deal for you. You've got those things like you got to actually, put the work in, but it's here to help you make that easier and to make sure that the client is getting the right communication and to see what they have getting. So your last part of the question here is, do we need to add SMS company to the service? We have SMS built into it, so you won't need to add another company on. There is a charge per line. It's like $15 or something like that, very reasonable. And then customers who can't get home, how does that affect cross-sell campaigns? Well, we build that into the list, right? So you can say who can't get a home. You can build that data profile to automatically take people out, but also you can manually take people off of that. So if you know, for example, you have a certain customer that you don't want to put home on, maybe you look at their address or you look at their zip code or you look at other things that say, I don't want to target people for this, and they just won't be targeted. So that's one of the really neat things that we can do. So service requests, one of the last journeys that I wanted to build is just what I call a customer monitor. And actually I already built it, but I wanted to show you some of the neat things that we can do. Of course, as you know, one of the core things that we do is Net Promoter Score. And that really helps to build a profile of a customer. Are they a detractor? Are they a promoter? Are they at risk of leaving? Whatever that criteria is for a customer at risk, maybe they aren't responding to your communications, or whatever it is that they are identified as an at-risk customer. Maybe you even add them manually to a list. We can send out a notification, for example. And then maybe we want to notify Slack. This is another place where we can do a webhook where we can say, hey, send a Slack message out to a certain channel that you are paying attention to find an at-risk customer, and maybe you want to call them automatically. And then this wait for review is wait for someone on your team to review this particular customer. So this is a manual step where you can kind of wait. But when we start this journey is when someone is added as a detractor. So as soon as they're added as a detractor, they're going to go through this cadence for how you want to manage that. And of course, then the goal is that we turn them into a promoter. So this whole at-risk customer flow might be taking a detractor and turning them to a promoter. Some of the other lists that we have that are really nice are promoters turn detractors. So this is one of the most important lists that you want to take a look at. So you've sold a customer, they've previously told you that they love you, and now they're a detractor. This is definitely someone that you have a high likelihood of retaining if you contact them, right? So this is like the low-hanging fruit when it comes to retention. People that used to love you and no longer do, or have had a hiccup in their account, you want to reach out to them right away. And this journey can be the way that not just notifies you about that, but also starts some of that communication, right? So in fact, maybe the first thing that we want to do is after someone has reviewed it and they say, yes, go to the next step, tell me more. And this is just an email. Again, I use ClientCircle AI to build this. And it just says, hey, hope you're doing well. Wanted to reach out, ask if we can meet up soon to chat about your feedback, right? So just automatically getting a response out to people about their detractor comment is sometimes really helpful. And you'll get a reply and hopefully have somebody talk to you. This wait here is just a wait for 3 days. Of course, it could be anything. And then a follow-up. just, hey, do you have a few minutes? So if they haven't responded to your email, then this would go out. But otherwise, you would want to set up maybe a meeting and talk with them and that kind of thing. And then just further on down the road, we have, are we doing better? And maybe this is waiting 60 days, giving you time to kind of review that. And we can also send out another survey right in here. So if I preview this, you can see that it's going to have a survey built right into it. So it's a really neat way to kind of fine tune our existing NPS tool to help you retain people, that have been detractors. So, so far I've walked through a lot of different journeys. We have a lot more out there, right? So here's, for example, a website quote request one that we have, where a quote request will come in and a cadence to be able to actually, get them to follow up for that, right? So someone earlier asked, how does this work with my existing CRM? Well, maybe you have a CRM that is also putting a lead in there, and you're working that lead, but also they come into ClientCircle and start sort of a follow-up journey, and it's monitoring your management system to find that quote. And as soon as we actually see that quote, then they could be done with the journey, right? So this is a way to make sure that you're not dropping any leads, that we're following through with things and that kind of thing. So couple questions. How do you stop a journey at the individual customer level after it starts? So one of the neat things that we have here on customers, let me just go through Journey webinar, because this is the one that I have an invalid address, so I can't send a card, but that's fine, because 123 High Street does not exist in Des Moines. We can show you the journey that they're on. So I've been testing with this. I can actually just hit stop journey, and then it will stop, and now that has been taken care of. So that's a really good way of doing it. But also out here in Journeys, let's see, do I have anybody in this one? Yeah, so I have this service form one out here. I can also stop them from here as well. So that's another way of doing it. So you can do it from inside here, but also in the customer record itself. One of the other neat things that we have in Journeys, of course, is the metrics. This is a pretty simple one because only one person has kind of met the goal, but this is where you'll be able to see all of the different metrics of how people have progressed through the journey. Let me see, I think I have one that has better metrics. Let me pull that up real quick. Just have to flip over to a new. Here we go. So this is a little bit more, what you're going to see. So this particular prospect journey, start, cold, warm, quote, is a little bit more complicated. But in here we have metrics, and we can see, hey, when they start, we've got 3 people that go onto the cold stage. 2 go from cold to warm. One went from cold straight to quote. So this is a good example where if the campaign has a link to get a quote, this person is automatically moved over to it. And then one person went to after quote, but they didn't go to a goal. But where did my goals come from? Well, I got one from my warm leads. I got one from my rewarming campaign. I got one from my cold campaign. So you can see how many goals you get, but also where they come from, which is really nice. But you'll also see how long it takes when someone starts a journey to when it, how long it takes to finish. So these are really helpful stats to really help you optimize your journey to get the best effectiveness, right? So if you see some that are just automatically, going to end, from start to end, you want to be able to figure out what's up with that. Maybe I need to think about the email campaign that I have there. The subject lines need to improve and that kind of thing. So it's a really good way to keep an eye on the journey as it progresses. So I'm going to flip back over to my slides and kind of finish things up. I have like 6 minutes left. And really, hopefully, what you're seeing here is, what we're trying to do is to build, one platform. Work with your AMS and your CRM and ClientCircle. Those are the three sort of big components, maybe that you need. And the idea, even with websites that we have now, is that you don't need to integrate a ton of tools together, but they just all kind of work seamlessly. Now, if you want to learn more specifically about how all of this stuff works, we can show you a demo. We can talk about how it's going to work with your specific management system in your scenario. We have people that are ready to, go through all of those things. Or, they know a lot about all of the different management systems and things out there. So clientcircle.com/demo is where you're going to want to go to talk with somebody on my team about